Hey everyone, welcome back. Today is Monday, March 31st. It is noon here on the East Coast of the US, and you are currently watching the Skill Building Monday Drawing Group here live on the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. And I'm your host, Jason Leeser. And if this is working for you, please drop a comment in the chat and hit that like button and let me know that I'm not just talking to dead air. And welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real world events, to share and inspire and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day and with your help have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on demand tattoo and art shows that have all been receiving rave reviews. You can find Reinventing the Tattoo at www.reinventingthetattoo.com. And I even have, there we go, a little ticker for you where you can try it out for free. There's no subscription necessary to try it out, no obligation necessary at all. We do offer three different options for you to try it out. The first option is a sample webinar from the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon, where you get to go through and get a better behind the scenes look at what it's like to actually have a full Reinventing the Tattoo Canon subscription. The second option is to get some free advice from Guy Aitchison about goals and goal setting. Maybe it's a goal you want to work towards. Maybe it's a goal that, you can't really see, but you know it's there. Maybe it's just some advice on things to work on. And that's option number two. Option number three is to take a comprehensive tattoo history course from Jay Brown. And fellow tattoo history nerds such as myself can guarantee you it is absolutely fantastic and covers a lot of the nitty gritty, lesser known information about the tattoo industry and where we've come from in the past. While there, you can also find a full event schedule with full weekly and special event live stream details, as well as access to our Reinventing 24/7 channel, which has about 13 different episodes going at any given time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and is accessible on all web-enabled devices. It doesn't matter if it's a smartphone, an old phone, or a tablet, or laptop, anything like that. It's always available to be streamed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also offer for purchase professional development workshops from over 20 world-class tattooers. These are on-demand seminars that you do have to pay for, but they are absolutely incredible. We've got an 8-hour Bob Tyrell skull seminar that's on there. It's absolutely fantastic. We've got seminars on there from everyone from BJ Betts and Bob Tyrell all the way out to Andre Malcolm. If you want to learn how to tattoo like Andre, there's a whole seminar on that you can purchase. You can also find us in both of the app stores, the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, as well as our Reinventing the Tattoo YouTube channel, our Reinventing the Tattoo Roku channel, which has 12 to 15 different episodes going at any given time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and is available on all Roku-enabled devices, as well as all of the major podcast directories such as Apple and Spotify. Or you can do what most people do and just pull up your web browser and type in Reinventing the Tattoo in whichever search engine you prefer, and all of it will pop up, except for the book, which is still currently out of print. So the only places you'll be able to get a copy of that are places like Facebook Marketplace, eBay, or maybe you're lucky enough to find someone at a tattoo convention that's selling one. We do have a couple of regular shows we always encourage people to tune into, starting off with this one on Mondays at noon, where we get to go through and work on different skill sets and talk about different things that might be pertinent to our lives in the tattoo industry. Everything from convention prep to Procreate tips and tricks, and everything in between. We discuss all of that and a whole lot more here live on this show. Following this show at 9 p.m., we have a subscribers exclusive drawing group with Sandy McAndrew and Guy Aitchison, both of the Reinventing the Tattoo Network, where we get to go through and cover a different segment in the Reinventing the Tattoo canon every week. It is a drawing intensive workshop every Monday night, but I can tell you from firsthand experience, having done it for the better part of 2 years, that it is worth every penny. It will push you to be a better artist. It will push you to get faster. It will push you to be better in every aspect. And that is the Monday evening drawing group. And that is only available for people that have a Reinventing the Tattoo subscription. Following this, on Wednesdays at noon, we have the Tattoo Now show with Gabe Ripley, where we get to go through and do a deeper dive into all things business aspect in tattooing, whether it's travel visas or advertising strategies or financing or budgeting, all of that and a whole lot more. That's all discussed during the Tattoo Now show with Gabe Ripley on Wednesdays. Next, we have a couple of live special events coming up. The first and most prominent is Hell City in wonderful Columbus, Ohio. That will be taking place May 2nd through 4th at the Hyatt Regency downtown in wonderful Columbus. And this has got an all-star lineup. If you are looking for the best of the best in tattooing, if you are looking for people that travel the convention circuit that will absolutely knock your socks off, this is where you need to be. We've got artists such as Paul Booth and John Clue, Gunner, Travis Brown, Renee Little will be there, Earhart, D-Rock, Nick Mitchell from Loose Screw Tattoo, Nico Perez from Graveside Tattoo, or Grave Tattoo, I apologize. Pony Lawson will be there, Pepe Carrere, Fast Alley, Ty McEwen, Devin Cooley, Seth Rush, and of course, will all be there doing tattoos live. So if you want to get tattooed, now is the time to book your appointment. Would like to go through and take a second to thank some of our sponsors, some of the people that make shows happen. Starting off with worldtattooevents.com, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. They're constantly keeping everything updated. As we know, living in a post-pandemic era, things are still getting rescheduled every now and then, and certain conventions are getting canceled. So if you want the latest, most up-to-date tattoo event or convention information coming to a city or town near you, or maybe it's one you plan on taking a vacation to, that's typically how I book all of my vacations, take a look at worldtattooevents.com. Would also like to thank TattooNow.com, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in professional development, management, and digital tools for tattoo artists of all levels. They are 100% competitive with any type of CRM, mailing list, or scheduling software out there. So if you're really looking for the digital tools to help you get a leg up in this industry, to really help you streamline your client communication and get more people through the door, take a look at Tattoo Now. They have been an industry leader in doing just that for over 20 years. Would also like to thank Guy Aitchison at GuyAitchison.com. He is the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo. Go to GuyAitchison.com where you can pick up a copy of his Biomech Encyclopedia, some of his tutorial DVDs. I believe he might still have a few custom coil machines for sale, as well as countless fine art prints and the occasional oil painting, all for sale at GuyAitchison.com. Would also like to say a very special thank you and shout out to Tattoos.social. This is the #1 tattoo community for people that are looking for a tattoo community without all of the negativity and drama and all of the other bull on all of the other tattoo communities out there. We took a number of different tattoo networks such as Fireside, Reinventing, and Paradise Tattoo Gathering, as well as a whole lot more, and we combine it all into one great streamlined platform where you can go through and network with some of your peers in the tattoo industry, and it's absolutely awesome. Would also like to go through and thank the Apprenticeship Diaries with Amy Nichols. This is my go-to place where I send people that have ever inquired about what it's like to have a tattoo apprenticeship. So if you're looking for more information on what that's like, go to the Apprenticeship Diaries with Amy Nichols, and you can find it all right there. It's a free podcast. You can find it in all of the major directories. As always, we ask that if you like today's show, please go through, post a positive review on the channel, help us get the word out. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to stay up to date with all of the new upcoming shows here live on the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. If you would like to host a Reinventing the Tattoo event, become a sponsor of the community, or if you are looking for a fine art or a tattoo critique, you can always email management at reinventingthetattoo.com. We will get back to you as soon as we can. And that kind of wraps up the intro. Some of you might know that I just got back from a convention the other week. That was the Skindustry Expo in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Great little small personal convention. I think there were maybe 100 artists there. It was very small, very personal, and it was a great time. We had artists from all over the country there, some absolutely incredible people, a lot of really great traditional style tattooers there. And it really got me to thinking about maybe dialing back some of the things that I do, simplifying things a bit more, and really getting back to the root and the essence of what it is I'm trying to achieve and portray. And it really made me stop and think about how simplistic some traditional style designs are and how well they convey whatever it is they're trying to get across. Okay? Because recognition of what it is they're trying to draw can be really critical, right? That could be the difference between someone walking past your booth or in your studio and saying, hey, that's a really cool snake, or what is that? Because if we go too far back and we dial it too far back, it's not going to be legible. It's going to be too simplistic. But again, if we overcomplicate things, sometimes it just seems like too much. So it's trying to find that great middle ground where we really capture the essence of whatever it is we're trying to create, but at the same time, not overcomplicating it. Okay? And it can be a really difficult thing to do. I've been very fortunate to have a whole bunch of friends do a lot of very traditional style tattoos that are absolutely fantastic at, and talking to them about how they boil down and get rid of a lot of unnecessary things to really try to capture the essence of whatever it is they're trying to draw, has always blown my mind. I'm that kind of person that likes to over detail everything, right? That's how I was brought up. I'm a trained fine artist. I've got a background in that. I went to art school. So I'm used to looking at tiny little details. I'm used to looking at, okay, well, if this is where my light source is, here's going to be the reflection on every single little scale in a dragon or in a snake. But you don't always need that, right? You don't always need to be able to see every highlight on every scale or every drop shadow on every whisker, or, sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes it's better to just leave that part out and simplify what it is you're trying to do. And the way that it was always taught to me is if take a look at a design that you're drawing, right? Any design, doesn't matter what it is. Take a look at it and then go through it. And if you're having a problem with a certain aspect of it, ask yourself, is this helping me to define what it is that I'm drawing? Or is it overcomplicating it? Can I tell what this is if I don't include that? Can I tell where this is if I don't include that? Sometimes we can't. We don't have that option. Sometimes if it's something like, a bird wing, right? And it's at a perspective and the wing's coming towards you and you want to see the feathers and you want to get all that nice tiny little gritty detail in that wing in the foreground, great, do it. But maybe the wing in the background doesn't need all of the lines for all of the feathers. Maybe it just needs a couple of little subtle shadows. That'll tell you that it's a wing. And it'll tell you that there are feathers there. But maybe you don't need to go through and outline every single feather, right? Because that's not going to help you define what it is. That wing in the foreground, the body of, say it's an eagle that we're drawing, right? The wing in the foreground, the body of the eagle, the head of the eagle, that tells you what that is. Maybe you have like a little vague shadow in the background for where that back wing is, just to kind of soften it out and really force your eye to look where you want it to look. That's going to tell you all of the information that you need to know. Everything else is going to be secondary. Okay? So it's getting back to this whole concept of what can you get rid of? What can you simplify? What can you do without and still have everything be exactly the way that it needs to be in order to recognize what it is? Right? And I say that only because in this day and age, a lot of people equate representationalism to quality or skill. Okay. If I'm sitting down and I draw a picture of a cat, does it look like a picture of a cat? Right? That is representational. This is being represented in this image. And a lot of people equate that to skill, and they like being able to recognize what it is they're looking at. Okay, this has been something that I've asked a lot of people about. A lot of the more abstract tattoos out there are fantastic for people that can conceptualize it and appreciate the fact that they might be looking at something, even if they don't know what they're looking at, and can still appreciate the beauty there. But I think for the vast majority of people out there, when they look at something, they want to be able to tell what it is. And it's not something I necessarily agree with, because I believe that art is art. Maybe it's a paint splatter or one single straight, seven round liner line going down the outside of an arm that's perfectly straight. I can appreciate the beauty and the simplicity in that. I can appreciate all of abstract forms, and maybe it just looks like a whole bunch of different colors on someone's arm and it's just kind of thrown in there. Cool. If that's what was intended, I can appreciate that. But I think a lot of people out there want to be able to tell what it is they're looking at, and they struggle if they can't do that. And one of the ways that you can really expedite the process of being able to do that is to simplify, right? Capture the essence of what it is you're trying to create or portray or depict without overcomplicating things. You don't have to get into the nitty-gritty, a lot of different stuff. You can draw an eagle very easily. You don't have to have every single feather. You don't have to have every tiny little bump and ridge in the talon. Oh, we've got a visitor. Yay, Stella. Stella's back today. You're a good girl. Yeah. Gonna help me draw today? I think you are. You're a good girl. Yeah. So yeah, get back to your essence. A lot of people will go through and overcomplicate things, and I'm trying to dial things back. I'm trying to get back to what is it I'm trying to create, and what is the best way for me to do that. What's the easiest way for me to draw a snake? What's the easiest way for me to draw a dragon? What's the best way I can depict that flying at a specific angle with the minimum amount of information necessary to really create and really depict what it is I want to show? And it's not easy. It's not easy to figure that stuff out. But that's where having a community of artists that you can reach out to ask their opinion, to go through and get some feedback, to get some critiques, to really go through and, listen to things that you could do to improve where you're at. And that's something I always encourage every artist to do. Find artists that you do not work with and you do not interact with on a regular basis, that do not live around you, that do not do the same style that you do. Reach out to them. Those are the people that you want to get the feedback from. Because anyone that's around you constantly knows your style, they know what you like to do, they know what you're capable of, and they know if you're pushing yourself or if you're not. Those artists that you don't really talk to that frequently, the ones that, maybe they see what you do on a regular basis, but, maybe they don't really see your process. And if you ask for a critique, those are going to be the people most likely to give you an honest critique. But you also have to understand that critiques are not always positive, and that's something I think a lot of artists in this day and age struggle with as well. I think a lot of them don't know how to take negative criticism. You know, it's criticism. It's things you can do to improve. They're not saying it to be mean. They're saying it to help you get better. So understand that. Now, that's been my little yes for today. This we can get rid of. And I'm actually going to get back to drawing in just a second. I will show you guys what I've been working on. I was only able to belt out about 4 new designs for the last convention I went to. I have a couple of weeks ahead of me, so I'm trying to get 4 or 5 more together for Hull City to debut at that convention, because I will be there. So if you're trying to get tattooed by me, by all means, reach out to me now. Hit me up. We'll book an appointment. All right. Come on, Stella. Come on. Time to get down. Daddy's got to draw. Come on. I know you can yell at me later. And she will, trust me. All right, let's switch this over. And we'll just throw that on up in the corner. So this is just a little sketch I've been working on. It's incredibly, it is the year of the snake, so I've been trying to draw a lot more snakes this year. Oh, there goes that connection. So we're going to flip this around. Sorry, folks. Un momento, por favor. There we go. And we're back. Great. We'll flip this around. Cool. So I have been trying to draw a lot more snakes. However, what I've noticed is for conventions, I typically like to do smaller one-shot tattoos, just because it's start to finish, especially if you're trying to enter a contest or something like that. It's always nice to be able to have something that's start to finish, in that kind of a way. You don't want to enter something and only have it be a halfway done tattoo. And also, it can be a lot more tricky to book multi-session tattoos at a convention, just because a lot can happen from year to year when that convention rolls around. So it can be a lot more difficult. I have been playing around with the positioning of the tongue, and that's this like little pink drawing that you see up here. I think I might try it again. We'll just hide that layer. And typically what I like to do is I like to bring it up with an S curve, and then I'll do like another S curve over. I don't know if I want to bring this up and around too much though. If you really want to get wacky with tongues of snakes, you do one S curve and then bring it like all the way around to help frame it off. Right? It can really give it some dynamic movement. I don't really need that in this design. I just need something to really kind of show the tongue. Even if I did something like this, that could work. But I always like the tongues of snakes to have a lot more movement than that. I don't just like it to be like, oh yeah, there's the forked tongue of the snake. That it just seems a little static. So I always like to try to really, if I'm going to do the tongue of the snake, I'm really going to try to really accent an S curve and really create a dynamic kind of way to do it. Also, try to avoid this. This is a common mistake that I used to make all the time when drawing snake tongues. This, right, is too flat. It's too 90-degree, and that does not work. The only time that will work is if that 90-degree angle would be here. Now I can do that, and I can show you how that would work. Let's come back here. So if I were to do that, I would start there and bring this all the way down. But now it's almost like it's too rounded, which is why I didn't do that in the first place. But try not to make it 90 degrees. Try to go a bit more obtuse than that, a bit more wide. So in order to get a wider angle on that, I would bring this lower and kind of bring it out a little bit further. You know, and now I've got like a nice tongue that's still wrapping around the top of the head. It's still giving me a little bit more movement than I normally would. I typically don't tend to draw tongues moving downward, but I mean, I could if I really wanted to. Something like that could be fun if I didn't have such a complex frame going on. You know, even something like that could work if I really wanted to kind of bring the eye back around in this direction, but I don't. You can always go with the what I call the Z tongue, and that's where you basically create like a nice Z out of S curves. And that always looks pretty wicked. You just have to make sure you get your proportions right. This way there's no tangents with it hitting the teeth or coming back into the mouth too far. Um, Things like that, running into tangents. And a tangent would be like if this part of the tongue came back and touched this tooth, that would be a tangent, and that's not good. You want to avoid that at all costs. And I can already see one or two that I have in here already that aren't part of the tongue. Little ones like this area of the tooth here, that's a tangent. So what I would actually end up doing is moving that tooth back a little bit more. That way I can avoid those lines intersecting, and that won't really be an issue after that. Now, for this part of the Z-shaped tongue, I could curl it up. You know, if I wanted to really kind of bring the eye up and around a little bit more. But because I want to try to keep everything here moving in this direction, I'm just going to kind of leave it be at something like this because I think that gives it a lot of really great directional movement. And especially because I've got this part of this ornamental frame coming down in this direction. So it creates a nice diagonal line going through the whole piece, which will move your eye around everything else. Now it's something that now I get to draw something that I always enjoy the challenge of sketching out. And that is scales. Yay, snake scales. Snake scales. Ooh ha ha. Cool. So there's a lot of different methods to drawing snake scales out there. I always like the diagonal grid method. That's my favorite method for drawing snake scales. Basically, you take, and let me just mute that down a little bit more so it's a little bit easier for everyone to see. That should do. this a little bit less opaque. We'll hide that. So basically with snake scales, what I like to do for the diagonal grid method, you can set it up in any number of different ways, but basically you're taking an S curve from the top line to the belly. The trick is to try to keep these lines parallel and at the same angle. If you can do that, you're golden. For certain parts and certain angles, say it's like the top ridge on the back of a snake, and you've got, say, this is our center line of the snake, right? And the body is twisting around. Sometimes what I like to do is I'll go through and I will actually draw like an X right down the middle on that center line. And then this will kind of give me that angle that I have to follow naturally, right? And it'll also give me the cross section of the angle so that I can go through and mark out my center line and my center scales so that way I can have that nice, if I choose to have like the scale going down the middle of the ridge of the back, I can do that in a different color, and then that'll help move the eye around to the body and the flow of the snake. It's just something that can really help direct the human eye and really help you, just move your eye around the whole thing. So once again, we're going to start out with an S curve from the underbelly and bring it up to the exterior border of the snake. Just a nice little S curve. Now, these aren't the best scales, but it does give me a good idea as far as where they would be located and how they would be moving. And that's ideally all I want to get out of this, is just a rough approximation of where those scales would be so that I can take this layer, make that less opaque, and now I've got a rough concept of, okay, if that's coming over here, so I know I'm going to need one scale there. Oh, hey, Stella. Back again. It just helps me plot out where my scales are going to be a bit easier. It doesn't have to be exact to your grid, but having that grid there can just be really, really helpful. Now, I am drawing these scales pretty big, and that's because this design is not going to be very big at all. Typically, whenever drawing designs for conventions, I try to keep them at the biggest 5x7 for quick little one-shot designs, just because you don't want to go overly complex and make something too complicated at too small of a size. So in order to avoid doing that, I try to draw everything a bit more simple and a bit bigger than I usually would. So the scales are going to be bigger, the teeth are going to be bigger. I'm not going to put quite as much detail into this ornamental border. I'm going to keep the background very, very simple. I'm going to keep everything pretty much as simplistic as I can, just because I know that this design is at most going to be the size of, maybe a softball or a little bit bigger. So I really want to keep everything as simplistic as possible, because the design is not going to be very big to begin with. But it'll be a nice little, $400 or $500 jammer if someone wanted it at a show. It's a great little way to go through and have something there at a specific price point. So if someone wants something and they only have maybe $500, but they really want to get tattooed by you, cool. I got some $500 stuff in this price range over here. Absolutely, you know. And then that way you can stay busy. You can do a tattoo. They can get something awesome from you because they've always wanted to collect a tattoo from you. Life is good. You know, it's always helpful to have something for everyone's budget. Obviously, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Do your cost analysis. Find out what the minimum amount per tattoo you need to make is, just to break even, right? So if you need to make $200 per tattoo minimum, and you need to do 5 tattoos to break even, okay, there's your baseline, right? Now I know that every tattoo that I need to do that weekend needs to be at least $200, right? Um, Now that's not to say that sometimes you can't cut people deals. I mean, deals get made all the time. Um, but that also don't shoot yourself in the foot either. Don't take one on the chin just to try to get a tattoo in. Know your worth. You know, you're taking the time to watch these videos. You're taking the time to improve yourself to draw as often as you can. That stands for something. Show that. Show that in your pricing. You know, that tells people right off the bat, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. Okay. And this guy's not one to be, second guessed. And people see that and people respect that. And if you think they don't, you're very wrong. And if they really don't, well, then they're not your client to begin with, right? They've got other people that they can go to for those super, super dirt cheap tattoos. Sorry, but not sorry. Time is money, and I got bills to pay. And I hate to put it like that, but it's the truth. And especially with the way this economy is going, bills just keep getting higher and higher. Cool. So now I've got some scales mocked out. Maybe they're not the exact same uniformity in size or whatever, but for a rough concept at a tattoo convention, I think it'll do pretty well. This is, once again, just a concept for something new. I may actually end up changing this up. I've been throwing around the idea of going through and taking some of these filigree patterns and actually turning those into just like ornamental leaves. Maybe throwing maybe like a neo-trad kind of leaf. Here. I think this could be cool if I did maybe just a couple of veins. Maybe I would have like another one here. Just as like another option. Maybe I don't want to do like ornamental stuff. Maybe I want to do something more neo-trad. Can all easily be done. Just a thought, just an idea. Maybe I could do 2 of those there. Maybe I could have some ornamental stuff in this area with maybe like another little neo-trad leaf here. And then I could do like another one down here. Maybe this guy will be facing a different direction than the one above it. Still having some of this ornamental stuff like here, just to help frame some of it out. But that could be a nice little interesting composition. I think, though, I would probably get rid of this leaf. And I'd keep it at an odd number. But we'll see what happens. If anyone has any questions, by all means, at any point in time, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer. I'm not quite sure how many people are watching. Looks like not too many. So we'll probably cut it short again today. This is just one of a couple of new designs I'm going to have on hand up at the Hell City Tattoo Convention. Give you guys a sneak peek at some of the other ones before we go. I'm doing like a little snake and a hare. This one's going to be a little bit bigger than what I normally do. It'll probably be 5x8, which is like the max I would go at a tattoo convention for a design. Unless someone books out more than one day, in which case, cool. Or if someone books out like all day Friday and we need a little couple hours on Saturday to finish it or something like that. Might go with something a little bit more traditional. Sketched up like an eagle with like an old school frame and then like, an old school clipper ship in the middle of it. I thought that might be a cool idea. Someone might get that if they like more traditional work. I've got some of these other ones like the torch and a couple of birds, an eagle. Sketched all that stuff up for the Allentown show. No one got them, so I'll carry those with me over to Hell City. I'm also working on a couple of chess pieces, like a knight, a queen, and a king. Just something different. I might throw a bishop in there somewhere, like in the background. Or a rook over to the side or something like that. Haven't quite decided yet, but whenever I play chess, I really like the knight, so we'll see how that goes. Working on that design as well. So that right there will give me, 1, 2, 3, 4 new designs for Hell City if I can get them all done in the next few weeks. So we'll see what happens. But just wanted to say thanks for watching, everyone. I always appreciate all of the people that take the time to watch these. I really, really appreciate you, and I thank you for taking time out of your life to watch these episodes. It means a lot, and I hope you're getting something out of these. If you're not getting anything out of watching these, by all means, let me know, and I will be happy to discuss whatever topic you would like on here. So until then, until next Monday, I hope everyone takes care. Keep your hands moving. Keep everything going well. And I will see everyone next Monday right here on the Reinventing the Tattoo Network, right here at noon on the East Coast time. And take care and be safe.